Can Alex Eala really become one of the 20 best players in the world? Right now, the answer looks simple. No. At least, that's what the rankings seem to say. As of July 2026, the 20-year-old Filipina star sits at world number 29 with 1,666 ranking points, more than 600 points behind the current top 20 cutoff. For most players, that's a mountain almost impossible to climb in just a few tournaments. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. After looking beyond the rankings, one thing becomes clear. Alex Eala may actually be much closer to the top 20 than almost everyone realizes. Not because she's suddenly become unbeatable. Not because she needs to win every tournament. And not because she has to produce another miracle like Miami. The real reason is hidden inside a rule that most tennis fans never think about. A rule that has already helped Alex rise. And later caused one of the most confusing ranking drops of her career. Understanding that rule changes everything. Because this isn't simply a story about ranking points. It's a story about timing, momentum, and one opportunity that could completely reshape Alex Eala's season. Over the next few weeks, she'll play Washington, Toronto, Cincinnati, and finally the US Open. 4 tournaments. One chance to change her career. One chance to turn months of steady progress into the biggest breakthrough since Miami. But before we look at what Alex needs to do, we first have to understand why winning matches isn't always enough to climb the rankings. And once you see what happened after Miami, you'll understand why Alex's top 20 dream is far more realistic than it appears. If Alex Eala is really closer to the top 20 than the rankings suggest, then why did she actually fall in the rankings earlier this year? At first, it made no sense. She was still winning matches. Still competing against the world's best. Still proving she belonged on the biggest stages. Yet when the updated rankings were released, Alex had dropped. For many fans, it looked like her momentum had suddenly disappeared. But the truth was far more complicated. To understand what really happened, we have to go back to one unforgettable week. Miami. The tournament that changed Alex Eala's career forever. As a teenager, she arrived with almost no expectations. Then, one by one, she started eliminating some of the biggest names in women's tennis. Every victory shocked the tennis world. Every match attracted more attention. And when she defeated Iga Swiatek, one of the sport's biggest stars, the headlines exploded. Almost overnight, Alex Eala transformed from a promising young talent into one of the most talked about players on the WTA Tour. That magical run earned her a huge number of ranking points. It also created something nobody was talking about. Pressure. Because in professional tennis, every ranking point only lives for 52 weeks. When those 52 weeks end, you don't keep the points. You have to earn them all over again. That's exactly what Alex faced when Miami returned in 2026. She played well. In fact, reaching the 4th round of a WTA 1000 event is an excellent result for almost any player. But there was one problem. A 4th round finish couldn't replace the massive haul of points she had earned by reaching the semifinals the year before. So even though Alex was still playing high-level tennis, the rankings told a completely different story. She hadn't become a worse player. The numbers had simply caught up with last year's success. For many athletes, a setback like that destroys confidence. For Alex, it became motivation. Because instead of chasing one more miracle, she decided to build something much more dangerous. Consistency. And what happened over the next few weeks proved that Miami was never the peak of her career. It was only the beginning. Losing ranking points after Miami could have changed everything. Many young players struggle after a breakthrough season. The expectations become heavier. Every tournament feels like a test. And every loss brings new questions. Was the success just a one-time run? Had opponents already figured them out? Could they ever reach that level again? For Alex Eala, those questions didn't last long. She answered them the only place that mattered. On the court. The grass court season quietly became the most important stretch of her career. Not because she won every match, but because she started proving that Miami wasn't an accident. It started in Birmingham. The conditions were far from ideal. Rain delays constantly interrupted play. Matches were pushed back. Momentum disappeared and had to be rebuilt again and again. For many players, that's frustrating. For Alex, it became another challenge to overcome. Round after round, she looked more composed, more confident, more complete. By the end of the tournament, she wasn't just holding another trophy. She was sending a message. She could handle pressure, she could adapt, and most importantly, she could finish the job. But Birmingham was only the beginning. Berlin presented a completely different challenge. Instead of building confidence against lower-ranked opponents, Alex found herself standing across the net from one of the tour's biggest names. Elena Rybakina, a former Wimbledon champion, one of the hardest hitters in women's tennis. Most people expected experience to win. Instead, Alex played some of the boldest tennis of her career. She attacked early, trusted her shot making, refused to back away from the baseline. And when the match was over, she had earned one of the biggest victories of her season. By now, something had changed. People were no longer calling Miami a lucky run. They were starting to call Alex exactly what she had become: a genuine threat. Then came Wimbledon, the tournament every player dreams of winning. The pressure was bigger, the spotlight was brighter, and the competition was tougher than ever. This time, Alex didn't arrive as an unknown teenager. She arrived with expectations, and somehow, she looked even better. Reaching the second week of Wimbledon and defeating defending champion Iga Swiatek wasn't just another headline. It was proof that her game could succeed on the sport's biggest stage. And on more than one surface. That was the moment everything changed. Alex was no longer relying on one unforgettable tournament to define her career. She was building something every top 20 player needs: consistency. And that's exactly why the next chapter of her season could be the biggest one yet. Because now, the tour returns to hard courts. The surface where one incredible week could turn Alex Eala's top 20 dream into a reality. If the grass court season proved Alex Eala belongs with the world's best, the hard court swing is where she can prove she belongs among the top 20. And it all begins in Washington. On paper, it's just another WTA 500 tournament. But in reality, it could become the turning point of Alex's entire season. Here's why. The Washington Open offers 500 ranking points to the champion. Just 1 week later comes Toronto. Then Cincinnati. And finally, the US Open. 4 major opportunities. 4 chances to rewrite the rankings. For a player sitting just outside the elite, there isn't a better stretch of the calendar. But here's the biggest misconception. Alex doesn't need to win all 4 tournaments. She doesn't even need to reach 4 finals. What she needs is momentum. One deep run can completely change the picture. Because success in tennis has a way of creating more success. A strong week in Washington builds confidence for Toronto. A deep run in Toronto improves seeding and belief heading into Cincinnati. And by the time the US Open begins, a player who started the summer chasing the top 20 could suddenly arrive as one of the most dangerous names in the draw. That's why Washington is about much more than ranking points. It's about starting a chain reaction. A chain reaction that could completely transform Alex's season. More importantly, Alex enters this hard court swing with something she didn't have a year ago. Experience. She's already beaten Grand Slam champions. She's already won titles under pressure. She's already shown she can perform on the biggest stages in tennis. Those moments don't guarantee future success, but they do remove doubt. Alex no longer steps onto the court hoping she belongs. She steps onto the court expecting to compete with anyone. Of course, none of this will be easy. The hard court swing is one of the toughest stretches on the WTA calendar. Every tournament is packed with elite players. Every match feels like a final. And every ranking point has to be earned. But that's also what creates opportunity. Because when the pressure is highest, the biggest breakthroughs usually happen. And if the last few months have taught us anything, it's that Alex Eala has developed a habit of rising to big occasions. Now, she has another one waiting. The only question is, can she take advantage of it before the window closes? Because if she can, the conversation won't be about whether Alex Eala can reach the top 20. It'll be about how much higher she can go. So, can Alex Eala really break into the WTA top 20? For the first time in her career, the answer isn't based on hope. It's based on evidence. 12 months ago, Alex's rise was powered by one unforgettable tournament in Miami. It was spectacular, but it also left her with an impossible standard to defend. When those points expired, many people assumed her momentum had disappeared. What they failed to notice was that Alex wasn't standing still. She was evolving. Instead of chasing another miracle, she started building something every elite player depends on: consistency. A title in Birmingham, a statement win over Elena Rybakina in Berlin, a breakthrough run at Wimbledon. Each result added another layer to her game. Another reason to believe, another sign that Miami wasn't the peak. It was only the introduction. Now comes the biggest test. The hard court season. Washington, Toronto, Cincinnati, the US Open. 4 tournaments that could define not only Alex's ranking, but the direction of her entire career. Will she reach the top 20 this summer? Nobody can promise that. Tennis has never worked that way. One bad draw, one injury, one difficult match, everything can change. But here's what we do know. Alex Eala has already proven she can beat Grand Slam champions. She has already proven she can handle the biggest stages. And she has already proven that every time people question her ceiling, she finds another level. That's why the real question isn't whether Alex has the talent to become a top 20 player. She does. The real question is, will the next few weeks be remembered as the moment she officially arrived among the world's elite? Because if her recent progress continues, breaking into the top 20 won't be the finish line. It may only be the beginning of something much bigger. Now we want to hear from you. Will Alex Eala finish this hard court swing inside the WTA top 20? Or do you think an even bigger breakthrough is still waiting in 2027? Share your prediction in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories covering Alex Eala and the biggest moments in world tennis. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.